I read I don't know if how many of you are in the hotel. I thought I was going to talk about the relocation of reptiles, which is a very fascinating part of the Scarlet Hotel's history of itself. And I thought I could, push a few comparisons there. But then having heard Nabil Hamdi and Ezio, I thought I'd better get a bit more connected to that, because I think that this challenge that I face, which I think this group can help me with and maybe we can help each other, is that 5 years ago, as Ezio mentioned, social innovation, communities bottom-up, was coming back into our picture, having been very prominent, as some of you know, in the 1970s and 1870s and 1670s, etc. Now everybody is talking about it, and we have a slightly refreshed question for me is, how do you make sense out of this kind of explosion of activity in terms of helping decide what activities are going well and what badly? And in particular, this notion of a frame around individual projects. What is the measure by which we judge whether things are going well or badly or in the right direction? And I was prompted on my way down. I was reading a book called Eating Animals by Jonathan Safran, which is a very kind of disturbing but very good book, because he basically talks about the many different ways in which we as citizens and humans are disconnected from the consequences of our action when we buy food, when we eat something. And I was thinking, well, the same exact disconnection affects all of us when we make a product, when we design an intervention in a city, when we do a social innovation project, that there is a kind of sense which is a bit vague that these things are good in themselves, but there is also a sense in which we need to know the costs and the consequences of our actions as designers and as people changing reality, as Nabil mentioned at the beginning. The problem is it's not just a rational process. So the thing about food is a good example. We all kind of know that terrible and unspeakable things are done to animals in order for us to get the food that we take for granted to different degrees. But we are rational, well-informed and intelligent, but we choose not to, or we're not connected emotionally to these facts because it's inconvenient, or if in one way or another it doesn't work for us. So the question I want to pose to this group is, how do we create this kind of sense of care and meaning about the costs of our actions of designers, which at the moment, frankly, is missing in most cases? How do we actually make ourselves go the last mile to the source of the product, the animal, the meal, or the change that we're proposing, so that we actually do things in a mindful way that we would otherwise do without thinking too much about it? How do we do true cost social design, and how do we get motivated to do it? So those are my 1.5 questions. And look, there's piles of sand left.